the shaking that ran up his legs. "Have a seat before you fall down," Mossy snapped. Khalid walked to the table. He heard the refrigerator open behind him when he sat, and forced himself not to jump when the man pushed a photograph across the table. "Can you find this man for me?" Mossy had to thump the fresh beer against his shoulder before Khalid realized it was there. He took it and poured half the bottle down his parched throat, stopping only when he ran out of air. As a Jundi, Khalid spent most of his time running errands for Mossy and his lieutenants. He knew the city like the back of his hand, but the gift he couldn't explain. Somehow he was able to find people even if they wanted to stay hidden. The man in the picture was an Arab, light-skinned, but not like the Berbers. He had soft features, short black hair, and a thin nose. Khalid focused on the eyes and the nose. They were the hardest to change. Finally, after memorizing the face, he nodded. "Okay." Mossy took out an old flip phone and handed it to Khalid. "If he finds him before noon, I will give you an extra $100,000, the burned man said to Mossy. "My number is the only one on this phone. You call me as soon as you find him. If you tell anyone, I will kill your father first. He is still working at the oil fields in Yassi Twil, correct?" Khalid didn't feel right again until he was riding through the bazaar. He wanted to stop and smoke some hashish, but then he remembered the burned man's gun. He drove around for 2 hours before ending up back at the bazaar. This is where he is, he thought, so he drove back and forth until his stomach began to rumble. He was so hungry that he almost didn't notice the silver van creeping down the road. Shit, police. The cops in Algiers were dirty, and if they stopped him, they would want money. Money he didn't have. Khalid was about to scurry away, but then he got a good look at the driver of the van. He was white, a foreigner, and Khalid realized that he had seen him before. "The American Embassy," he said aloud. Something told him that the van was looking for the man in the picture. So instead of cutting through one of the alleys that led away from the bazaar, Khalid released the handbrake and aimed the motorbike at the vehicle. He happened to glance toward the sidewalk, and that was when he saw the man in the photo. The target was walking toward him, head low and unaware of the van creeping up from behind. Khalid couldn't believe his good fortune. He pulled the motorcycle to the curb and dug the phone from his pocket. "That was quick." "He is at the bazaar. The Americans are here in a van." "What is he carrying?" He has a bag." "Are you sure they are Americans?" "Yes." The van sped forward so fast that Khalid almost dropped the phone. It jumped onto the curb amid angry shouts from pedestrians. 3 burly men jumped out. Khalid relayed what was happening in real time. 3 men. They have beards and rifles." "Brule, don't you fucking move," one of the men yelled in English, pointing at the man Khalid had been sent to find. "They are yelling at him. He is running." Behind him, tires screeched, and another car flashed around the corner. Khalid barely got out of the way and almost dumped the bike in the street. The man in the picture tried to run, but one of the Americans pulled out a yellow pistol and fired. The Arab ran into a woman carrying a bundle of oranges, a pair of wires trailing from his back. The fruit went flying, and then there was a tick-tick-tick sound that sent the man to the ground. He dropped like a bag of stones and flopped around on the pavement like a fish in Khalid's cousin's net. "I told you not to run," one of the men said before kicking the Arab in the face. They grabbed his hands and forced them behind his back. "We got him," one of the Americans said into the radio. "They are binding his hands and carrying him back to the van." "Follow them. I need to know where they are going." "Yes, of course." Khalid shoved the phone into his pocket and waited for the 2 vehicles to pass. He turned the bike around and hurried after them, his hunger forgotten. The only thing he remembered was the burned man's eyes and the pistol leveled at his stomach. He would not fail him. Chapter 2. Beirut. 4,000 miles to the east,